Hello and welcome, I am Sammy, and I'm just gonna get started on playing part 4 of my playthrough of Alien. Now, as I get started here, I just want to make sure I point out or mention how much I like the beginning of this game, before I get too far into it. The beginning of this game, the intro, it's unlike a lot of survival horror games I've played, and I wish more survival horror games these days would follow along with what it does. And what it does is, if you follow, or if you're aware of a lot of the best horror movies that have been made, say, well, Alien is a great example, but also movies like Jaws, they follow a rule where they don't introduce the monster until an hour into the game. And we don't see a lot of video games do that. Even survival horror ones, they don't tend to follow a similar type of rule. Now, that's probably because there's a question of how to adapt something like that. If you consider how long an hour into a movie it is before you introduce a monster, that's about halfway through the movie. Now, say halfway through the game, that's about 5 to 10 hours. That'd be a little ridiculous before introducing the monster. But I'd say they could introduce it maybe about an hour, about the same amount of times, even though the proportion would be different. It would still allow the game to establish the world and establish the characters and the gameplay. Also build tension. That's the important part of that rule. Is it allows those films to build tension before they finally introduce the big scare. And that's one of the things I really like about the beginning of this game, and by extension the first half of this game. There's a whole lot of introducing the world, and it doesn't just throw the monster at you within the first half hour. There's a good while before they throw it at you, and before you get the real big scares in this game. And a lot of other... You compare this to a lot of other survival horror games out there, they just, I can't think of a game that does that.
I need a doctor. Hello? I need him.
I can't hear you. Hang on.
I think maybe the reason why, besides adapting the rule to a video game, is, well, they want to engage the player right from the start. They want to make sure. They want to make sure that you're into the game from the beginning. So a game like Dead Space will introduce a necromorph very early on, or Resident Evil game will introduce a zombie very early on. You don't see those games waiting an hour or waiting 2 hours before they throw stuff at you.
Forget the door. The marshals locked everything down.
But now that I've experienced it in this game, in Alien, I would like to see more games do that. I would like to see more games take their time and have a slow intro that allows it to build the world and build the tension necessary to make the scares that it offers even more effective. Let's see what's in here.
Relax. I'm closing the bed behind you. Doesn't make sense.
Not really too afraid of using up the flashlight in this area, or at all. The game does a very good. Well, I don't know about a good job. I'm not sure that's the right word, but if you take the time to search environments, there are plenty of batteries, plenty of resources. That might even be a hang-up for me. Kind of backfires because I do take care to search the environments. I often get
All right.
I often get too many resources. I often get more than enough. And I feel like, well, if I was more resource starved, I would actually have a tougher time and be more scared more often. So that's why I'm just gonna. Don't really have to worry about using up the flashlight. I'll be able to find more batteries.
I'm Coolman.
Ripley, I need to find a doctor.
I'm a doctor.
My friend needs help. Medical supplies.
Me too. There are no supplies on this level. But there are plenty downstairs in the hospital dispensary.
How do we get there?
We? Do I look like I'm in any fit state? I need your help and you need mine. You find the passcode for the service elevator and then I'll come down to the hospital with you, okay?
Passcode?
Yeah. I can direct you from here. Morley or Lingard would have had the new passcode. Morley's office is your best bet.
So now we're in the SciMed Tower, or the first time we're in the SciMed Tower, and this will be the first major scary moment of the game. Now, I know that because I have played the game before. And while the android segment in the previous part was pretty scary in itself, here's where the game really throws the toughest parts at you. Let's see. This will loop around, but this will allow me to collect ID tag to collect more resources. Map update. Little bobblehead thing. Can't stress this enough, I really do like just looking at the posters and objects in the world. Very carefully crafted and designed. I believe this will just loop around. This door I couldn't open before. I can open from the other side. Yeah, I'm back here now. Yeah. Might as well take another opportunity to save. Now, yeah, that's right. I forgot. This door isn't really locked. I guess it's just trying to teach you that you can override the lock if you see these buttons.
Come on. Let's work together, huh? Mutual benefit.
So right now,
The area you're in was for our more unstable patients. Those who had trouble adapting to deep space.
Just tell me where to go.
Tragic cases. Don't worry, they're all long gone.
right now we are. Ripley's trying to search for a
No, wrong way.
a medical kit for Taylor, who is injured. That's why we're in the SciMed Bay, and we're going to follow that doctor's. We're gonna help each other to try and hopefully find a med kit. So While
Tragic,
we're,
tragic cases.
while we're looking at a radio right now,
Far from
we're
the
listening
rhythms
to the
of
radio.
earth, sunrise, sunset, the mind has a tendency to wander. Tragic cases. But Morley wasted far too much time on cuddling them. They should never have come here. None of us should. This place had such promise when I first came here. It's tragic. A waste of my talents.
While we're listening to this radio, we like the appreciate the novelty of radio in a sci-fi future, or we're in space. I mean, that's basically, I can't think of anything more 80s than the dreaming of a future where we're flying in spaceships in space with aliens, but by God, we're gonna still have our big boom boxes in our radio. Just nothing more. Nothing more 80s than that. Nothing quite like that. We don't see iPods or iPhones jammed into this game though. Pretty well keeps to the alien aesthetic. Alright, let this audio diary play while I search the environment.
I need to be left out of the loop, Morley. You hear me? I tried to use the dispensary today and found I was locked out. I can't possibly be expected to carry out my duties if you and Lingard cut my access privileges. I have patients who will relapse without that medication, particularly when things on the station are so precarious. I will not see patient care suffer. Consider this formal warning. And for the record, I do not have a problem. Pullman out.
Let's see, what was that item again? Ethanol. I can craft something and use that ethanol. I think the only ones that use the, or maybe the EMP mine. No. But I will craft something while I'm here. I do tend to appreciate games that have a crafting mechanic. Adds a little bit of challenge and depth to just the pacing of moving around and using items. The idea that you have to craft them yourself. You have to make sure you collect enough items, keep collecting. It does a lot. It incentivizes the exploration of the environment. Make sure you collect everything you can. And then, especially in stealth games, like I appreciated it in the Last of Us. Especially, I like its crafting system. You have to, as you're navigating, trying to hide from enemies, you need an item really quick. You would, pull up your crafting menu and craft while you're trying to hide. It adds an extra layer of tension, especially if you're out of an item or if you're out of resources. You need to look for something really quickly. Try to hide in a corner, craft what you need. Say you need to make a noisemaker to divert the attention of enemies. Do that. The game doesn't pause while you're crafting too, so there is a fear of being caught as well. So I just like that the added layer of tension that a crafting system like this can build. Door access active. Most important things we want to look for in these reward systems are doors. Anything like that. If the doors are already active. Let's see, we're here. So this area looks like that room in the center there. that door? Way over there. See, this vent requires 4 power, so in order to access this vent, I have to turn off a few systems. Alright. Oh, I forgot to turn the vent on. So now I'll have access to that vent, in case I need it. Okay, yeah, these are the vents that I just activated. Sometimes there can be items here and around. Let's thoroughly explore this vent and see. Get familiarized with the layout. See, when I first played this segment, I didn't find this vent, so seeing this for the first time, I didn't even really know that there was a vent here. Yeah, okay, this leads... Interesting enough, I remember this door. I was never actually able to open this door. I don't think I ever found this passcode to this nurse station. I probably did find it later on in the game, but I actually never came back to this area.
That's right. Along that corridor.
It was probably in an area later on, and I would have to actively remember, once I found the code, where this nurse station was, and then take the time to come back here, visit this room, open enter the passcode, open the door. It does look like there's something in there that usually, yeah, there's an ID tag I can collect. There might be some other collectibles in that room there. Usually some of the rarer audio logs. There are audio logs from the Nostromo. There are 10 of them to collect. They're hidden throughout the game. There might be one in there. Let's see. I can open this door, I know that. In general, I like the idea of doors that you have to... you can't open right away, and then you have to get an item, or you need to be... They can only be opened by an item that you'll get later on.
You're there. That's Morley's office. The passcode should be in there somewhere.
And then you have to remember to come back. Check that door again if you can open it. It's the general way the Metroid worlds are set up. However, in this game it doesn't work quite as well as it does in Metroid, because it is mostly just centered around collectibles, and there isn't a lot of reason to return to environments where the story doesn't require to go to. There are no side quests that I'm aware of, so maybe if there were some side quests in environments that you do not need to
Look, we'll need the physical keycard too.
go
Morley
to for the
always
story,
checks stuff. Find him.
then I would also take the time to revisit some of those locked doors I couldn't open before.
Quarantine breach detected. Warning.
Relax.
Medical
I'm
facility
just trying to find out
breach
what that
detected.
is. You focus on finding that keycard.
Shit.
Alright, should probably hide now. This This is the first major part of the game where we have to directly deal with it. First time I played this, I didn't have access to these vents, but now, since I prepared ahead of time, I can actually use these to my advantage. Head far over there, other side as I can. I believe there are multiple vent systems. Yeah, this one is disconnected from the main one, the larger one. If I can get up and enter this one, that'd be ideal for me. He's coming this way. Just outside. Flare should distract him enough for me to try to head through this door. I had to use that code that I got from the computer to open the door. Not sure if he's coming this way, just in case. He was. Locker was a good idea. Things in the environment is kind of not helping me. I want to make sure I comb every room, but of course the alien is also patrolling around, so particularly tough for me. If you think this, the hiding system looks familiar, like it does resemble a lot the system that was in Outlast. Except in Outlast, that game definitely had no way to deal with enemies. You just had to hide. This game, you do have some options for dealing with the alien. And that's what the whole crafting system is about. You create noisemakers and cause him, you know, direct him to a specific area. I think I prefer that most. I think Alien presents a sort of balance compared to the systems in Outlast, or you know, between Outlast and another game where you have a lot of resources, where you have guns, like maybe Resident Evil, good example of that. It is right in the middle of both those extremes. In Outlast, you are completely helpless to fight enemies, and you just have to hide. While a game like Resident Evil 4, you do have access to guns and resources where you can fight back against these scares. I don't think I really like... I mean, done well, any type of system can work, where you're helpless, where you're empowered. And there are great examples in both. I would say my favorite would be something like Alien, where you definitely cannot kill the alien, but you're not completely helpless either.
Morley.
Say in Outlast, a game like Outlast, when you hide in a locker, as long as the enemies don't see you, they will always check other lockers. They will never check your own. In this game, as you saw in the last part, like the androids there did check my locker, and one of them even pulled me out of it without seeing me firsthand. Now there's so there was an option to cringe back and try to hide from them. Let's see if I can heading this way. In this game, because you have slightly more that you're slightly more capable of dealing with enemies than Outlast, you're not completely helpless. That's why I think it's balanced so that the enemies can take you out of blockers if you're not careful, even if they don't see you. Right now I have access to things like, I have my noisemakers that might help me. I just need to, you know, figure out best way to use it, best place to throw it. Okay, so I just got a pipe bomb. Can't craft one right now, but those are pretty powerful. Again, the pipe bombs, I already know I can't kill the alien with it. But, I'll go to save point. But they will be effective against things like the androids. Let me prepare a noisemaker just in case I need it. To be clear, I did really enjoy Outlast, but I wasn't too much of a fan of how helpless you were in that game. And same goes for something like Amnesia. Really, I really appreciated the way it way those games handled fear and build tension. But in general, in both those games, I was not exactly a fan of how helpless you were. Of course, on the other extreme, I'm not too much of a fan of being so empowered that no enemies can ever touch you. And a lot of times in these earlier parts in Alien in this game, especially now, I feel like it's striking a good balance. See if I can do this really quickly. I know of a way to deal with the alien here. There's an alarm I can turn on, and we'll head straight there. See what this other one does. Door access. You can also send them over here too. That's where the rewire system can become extremely useful for dealing with the alien. You can send them to different parts of the environment, depending on where you need to go. I think he's heading back already. Alternatively, I could use the noisemakers. Send him in a particular direction. As long as I'm using my resources and being careful, I can manage around him. Now, if you remember that chart from earlier, I needed to memorize or remember what the numbers were, and find the right room where I would find the key card I need to move on. But since I am gonna explore every room anyway and collect all the items, I'm not too worried about that right now. Heads this way now. I think he's coming. Oh, he was in the vent. That's not good. Yep. Probably. I did not expect him to come in the vent. But, because I wasn't paying attention to where he was. I didn't know he'd already jumped back up into the vent. He doesn't always stay down on the ground. Occasionally he will jump back up in the vent to pop out later. Let me collect map updates here. So I do need to get through this room. I need that key card for the doctor. One of the strongest things about this game is the sound design. Right there I could hear him going into the vent. But of course I need to be listening. If I'm not paying attention to that, then I'll miss it and I'll think you're still down on the ground. It's probably gonna drop down in a second. the noisemaker sends him that way. And then I can, as he passes, I can turn the other way. The other way. I'm not sure if he heard it. Well, he's more interested in this room right now. Gotta admit, I am on edge right now. This is one of the better sequences of the for one of the first times you see the aliens. Very effective. Especially since this one is a good example. You have a lot of options to deal with him. Of course, it's also easy for me to make a mistake, especially while I'm streaming. He's already back. Let me try to activate that alarm system. Okay, unfortunately, ran into that glitch again. I'm stuck in this rewire system. Still not fixed. Really appreciate if that was patched. I don't have to keep reloading the save whenever that glitch decides to glitch out. While he's heading that way, I will keep going this direction. Do what I did before. And if it seems like I'm going really slow, that's just a good idea. If I were to run through the environments, the alien would instantly know where I was and come running. Hopefully I can access the rewire tool really quickly and it won't glitch. So I really want to turn on this alarm system. They'll come running that way. Allow me to go this way. Almost thought he saw me for a second. I think he was just trying to get into a vent or something. investigating my locker, so I have to cringe back and hold my breath. Again, it's entirely possible that he can discover you in your locker. Has a little bit more of danger compared to the hiding in Outlast. Alright, I picked up that key card. Now the trick is getting back over there. Let's see, get an idea where he is. I think I came out too early. Should have waited for him to go further along the hallway. Yeah, while I am on edge right now, like I am feeling tension. I'm not sure how entertaining I am because I as you can see, I'm not very reactive to when the alien actually gets me. Even when I see a jump scare, say a horror movie or something like that, I don't actually jump very often. It's very rarely that a jump scare will cause me to jump. Yeah, so that might make it less entertaining for you guys. And if that's the case, then I'm sorry. But anybody watching, another thing a good idea to do is to leave these rewire tools open, so you don't have to experience that boot up time, because you really need it very quickly. I think he's gonna drop down any second. Probably a bad idea to head out right now. Hear him coming, even before the yeah, I think he's still in the vents. If he was down on the floor, then he would go running. Not quite there yet. Try that again. Alarm distracts him for only few seconds, so I have to really use that window. I'm not sure how effective those buttons are. Never really tested if they can truly lock the door. It looks like they're only locked for a few seconds anyway. Okay, now I know in this room. Great. I think you can tell when the rewire tools glitch out is when you don't hear the seeks and boot up noise. Yeah, I think streaming might be putting too much resources onto my CPU, and that's causing it to glitch more often than it usually does. And I'm not entirely sure of that, but seems like it based on observation. Well, I'm gonna go this way this time, because I know I need to be in that room. And then I'll search the opposite direction. This won't glitch. Okay, boot up noise means probably going to work. Assuming that's how you can tell. There's nothing over there. I do want to check out this room. Computer in here. Alright, I'll just keep this open in case I need it. Hanging around here, so I'll send the other direction. So I can then look at this computer if I have enough time to do that. If there's anything important. Another thing I'd suggest is, instead of hanging around these computers, just very quickly go through the records, and then if you hit tab, you can actually just access those same archives here while the game is paused. So if you really like reading those logs, I just suggest doing that. Read the computer really quickly and then find a place to pause. Hoping he's not going to be right on the other side of this door. That would suck. Oh, he was. Luckily, he was going the other way already. He's in the vents, I can hear him. What I'd like to do is make sure I save in case another rewire tool glitches out. I don't want that to keep happening. Very unfortunate that a glitch like that make it into what's otherwise a really nice game, really very well made. There he is. It's otherwise a very well made stealth and horror game. Regardless of why the glitch is happening, it doesn't help with the pacing of the game, the ongoing action and stealth. You have to constantly keep reloading this last save. I'd rather open those rewire tools without fear of a glitch happening that would force me to reload a save, because they are very useful. As you can see, that I can send them any direction I need them to go. If I lose progress, then not very good. While that can be scary, when he checks your locker, I think maybe the animation of him doing that isn't quite very good. The way he kind of looks up into it just looks kind of strange. No rewire tool here, so I have to wait for him to move. Should be one in the next one. There's an alarm system on the other end of the hall. Alright, crossing my fingers. Boot up noise is a good sign. So in this room there is another alarm system. Hopefully he'll head over that way. I know there was an ID card somewhere. Was that in this room or the other one? Did I miss it? Otherwise I could just move on. I don't think I have time to access the rewire before he gets in here. It does take some time. I should lock it, give me enough time to access this. Okay, there he runs. Yeah, I wanted to make sure I pick this up before I leave. Accidentally locked it. Alright, I'm back to this area. Thankfully, another save point.
Damn you, Coleman! You knew that thing was here!
Now that's unfair. I thought it might be there. There's a difference. Now the passcode.
1702, okay? Now let's get down to the dispensary.
Of course, of course. A promise is a promise. I'm sorry for putting you through this. I'm going to step into the other room to punch the code in and prime the elevator. Then we can use the key card to take the elevator down.
Now that first segment in, or that major segment in those Sci-Med labs, probably one of the scarier segments of the games.
There.
Segment of this game, and
I'll collect my things and we can leave.
especially because it is the first time you have to encounter and deal with the alien. This elevator, right? And now with this key card, I can use this elevator. Move on to the next part of the game. We just dropped down. I am still looking for that trauma kit, as it says. Save here. Actually, I think that's a good time to take a break. Thank you for watching. If you tuned in, I'll probably will stream again. Continue on from this part. So see you in the next stream.